Hi class. Today we have the 27th lesson for algebra, and we are starting change of subject or formula. Before we solve the two problems we have on the board as our first examples, you need to understand here keywords. Yes, of course, you know what is meant by the word change, but if we say change of subject, you need to understand what we mean by subject here. Yes, of course, I believe you know what is meant by formula. Yeah, we can say formula, we can say equation, we can say relation. Okay, now let's use one of the most popular formulas we have for basic math. Let's say area of a rectangle, which is length times breadth. We have area of a rectangle as length times breadth. We have A, we have L, we have B. This one is a relation. This one is an equation, but popularly we call it formula. Yes. So what makes it a relation? Because the relationship between area and these two parameters, length and the breadth. Yes. What makes it an equation? Of course, you can see the equal to sign. Why they call it formula? Because we use it as a template to solve problems. Yes, that's problems that have to do with length, breadth, and area. So, what do we understand by subject here? Subject here is not like when you say math, or when you say science, or when you say English, or when you say biology, physics, chemistry. This is not what we mean by subject here. Subject here is the variable that stands alone on one side. The variable that stands alone on one side with a power of 1 with a coefficient of 1. Now, when you look at A, the power is 1, the coefficient is 1. So it survives those two properties or those two conditions. But is it standing alone on one side? Yes, it is standing alone on one side. On the left hand side, you can only get A. So therefore, we can say this equation, this relation, this formula, A is the subject. What is the power of L? 1. What is the coefficient of L? 1. But is it standing alone on one side? On the right hand side, it's not only L we have L, we have B. So we cannot say L is the subject. Can we say B the subject? No, because on the right hand side is not only B we have. So this relation, A is the subject. So this is what we mean by subject in this case. Now, what is meant by change of subject? Now, as it stands, A is the subject. You've understood what is meant by subject now. As it stands now, A is the subject. So the manipulation or the process of rearranging so that the remaining one of the remaining letters can also stand alone on one side, can also become the subject is what we mean by change of subject of formula. Now we have A equal to LB. This A equal to LB, we want B also to become the formula instead of A. Instead of A, we want B to become the formula. So all what you do in a topic like this is not something that should bother you as long as you can take care of linear equations, quadratic equations, simultaneous equations. You should be able to understand change of subject of formula because the same principles we apply in linear equations, quadratic equations, simultaneous equations are the same. Now let's say we have 4 equal to 2x and you want to find x. On the right hand side we have one term, on the left we have one term. So if we need x, we divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to 2. So if we want to make b the subject, it's very simple. Divide both sides by L by L. So b stands alone. This is A over L. This is what? A over L. So what do you see now? Is it not B the subject now? Yes. We have changed the subject from A to B. This is what change of subject of formula all about. Now we have the first one says V equal to U plus AT. Before I tell you now, from what I have explained, which one do you think is the subject here? The subject is V. V is the subject here. Why? Because 1, the power of that V is 1, the coefficient is 1, and it is standing alone on the left. That makes it the subject of the formula. Now, this V as the subject of this formula, they want us to make U the subject. So we want U to be the subject. So we want also U to stand alone on one side with a power of 1 with a coefficient of 1. So what we do is, since we want U to stand alone, let us remove 80 from that side. It goes to the left. Here is V. This comes here, it becomes minus 80. So you can see U is now standing alone. But most often, we want the subject to be on the left-hand side. So if you say John and Ali, they are the same, it is also correct to say Ali and John are the same. So if you are saying this is equal to U, it is the same as U equal to V minus 80. So U is now the subject of the new formula. So the second one says V squared equal to U squared plus 2AS. Yes. So we want to make U the subject. We want to make what? U the subject. So if we want to make U the subject, look at U here that we want to make the subject. So what we do is, let this term move from the right to the left. So here we have V squared. This comes here. The sign changes. Minus 2AS, which is U squared. So as I did here, we can say U squared equal to V squared minus 2AS. But have we made U the subject? U is now standing alone on one side. The coefficient is 1, but the power is not 1. So we don't want that to happen. So think of A squared equal to 9. When we forget the square, once we ignore the square, we'll take the square root of the other side. So the same thing. If we ignore the square, we take the square root of the other side, which is V squared minus 2AS. So now you can see U as the subject. So this is change of subject of formula for you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment.